Hey guys, welcome. Glad you stopped by, as always. And you guys always seem to stop by when I'm getting ready to cook dinner. It's starting to get a little suspect. Just kidding. I'm glad you stopped by when we're getting ready to cook dinner. Tonight, we are going to do a take on Salisbury steak. So, Salisbury steak, as you know, is traditionally beef patties done in a gravy. And is always like one of my favorites. But it does take some time. Whether you're doing it in crock pot, stovetop, either way. This is a loose meat version of that, like a, like sloppy joe or something like that, only we're not putting it on bread. Well, I suppose you could, over bread, like an open face, something or another, in a bowl. But we're gonna have this with noodles. We're gonna do just some, in our case, thin egg noodles, Amish noodles. You can use any kind of noodle you like, really. I mean, whatever your preference is. I think the original recipe called for a wide egg noodle. We're not huge fans of the wide, Amish style egg noodles, and in my opinion, regular egg noodles that are kind of curly get way too soggy too fast. I mean, they're good on occasion, but they're not my preference. That's actually my preference. So once again, like with cooking, you can change it up a little bit, add to, take away, make it your own. But I think that's the only thing I'm deviating from, I think. I don't remember. But anyhow, this is just a Salisbury ground beef. We're gonna put it over noodles. It's gonna, but it's got, it's cooked with a beef bouillon, some garlic, onion, mushroom, basically everything you would have in a Salisbury steak. At least I have in my Salisbury steak. Yours may vary a little. I mean, you just never know. That being said, if you're new, welcome. I'm glad you stopped by. Hope you get something out of this video. Check out some of the others. If you're returning or one of our new subscribers, welcome back. Thank you for stopping back by. I never take you guys for granted by any means. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, share. Commenting. The only thing I ask is you be civil. And we've had some examples of that. There are some people that have commented as of late that didn't always agree with something I did, or the way I cooked something. The jambalaya, for example. I made a wonderful friend. And it was all I learned some things in the process. But I'm sure there are some people out there that have been like, "Oh, this person's being a kind of a jerk," but he wasn't. He was just learning me on things. And it also proved my point of, how regional jambalaya can be, in that fashion. But, that's just be nice. Think before you type. That's all I ask. Nobody agrees with everybody 100% of the time. That's what makes us individuals. So, that being said, why don't we go ahead and head down to the counter and we can get started on our dinner. All right, hold on for me 1 second. Okay, we are down here at the counter. Things you will need for this, a couple pots. Even the original recipe said a large skillet, a large deep skillet. But if we're talking a large deep skillet, if you have a Dutch oven, just grab one. And by looking at the recipe, because it had pictures that went with it, they were pretty much using a Dutch oven. So I'm gonna call shenanigans on the large deep skillet and grab a Dutch oven, unless you don't have one. And then just a pot to boil the noodles in. I've got this water heating up now. If you are not using a stainless steel pot, you always want to salt your water when doing noodles. But if you're using it like a non-stick stock pot like this one is, you don't want to put the salt in it right away. You want to wait till that water's moving before you put your salt in it. If not, that salt will grind the Teflon or whatever it is they put on it now off the bottom of that. In this pot here, I thought I turned you on. Maybe I turned you off. But I have 1 tablespoon of oil, and I'm using vegetable oil tonight. And we gotta let that heat up to a medium-high heat. We got it on medium-high. We gotta let that heat up so it's dancing and smoking a little. Okay, so our oil is starting to dance and starting to smoke a little bit. So we're gonna go ahead and get our meat in there. So I've got 1 pound of ground beef. Now, the original recipe called for 90-10. I am, and not that I'm against 90-10 by any stretch of the imagination, but I also can't afford 90-10, so I'm using 80-20. And we're going to let that cook up. And then to this, I'm adding 1 medium diced onion, which is one medium onion, and I've got it finely diced right there, you know, into itty bitty small pieces. And then I have got three large cloves of garlic, or at least what I perceive as 3 large cloves of garlic, because I have yet to find anything that tells me exactly what a large clove is. And we're just gonna let this cook up as soon as I go get something to stir it with. Okay, I got something to stir it with. So we're gonna let this meat brown and get it to crumble. So we're gonna break it up as it cooks. Now you want to kind of keep it going just because of the garlic. You know, I almost waited to put the garlic in, but the recipe said to go ahead and put it in with the onion. Because if you don't, your garlic's gonna burn. It's gonna make your it's gonna turn the garlic bitter, and you'll be able to taste it over everything else. All right, we got our hamburger is brown. And I was gonna tell you, if you have the 80-20 and you just have an abundance of grease and whatnot at the bottom of it, go ahead and pour a little bit of it out. But what we gotta do now is go ahead and get our hamburger. We're gonna take our hamburger out of here. Okay, we got our hamburger out of there. Now there are some burnt brown bits at the bottom of it. Leave it in there. Yeah, you want that. That's flavor. So I've got 4 tablespoons of butter. I'm gonna add that in here, and we're gonna get that melted up real quick. All right, move this hamburger out of the way. Butter is melted. Ha, that was warm. I have got 8 ounces of mushrooms. Now these are just button mushrooms, your standard white top mushrooms. I think the original recipe called for cremini mushrooms, which I couldn't find any of. But you use whatever mushroom is your favorite mushroom. And we're gonna go ahead and let these cook down. And it's gonna take about 5-6 minutes to get these bad boys going. Meanwhile, I went ahead and started my noodles, because they're gonna take about 10 minutes. And we're about the halfway mark, really. All right, we got our mushrooms cooked down. Here, I'll show you real quick what they look like. Oh, I don't burn myself in the process. But there we are. See how they've got a nice color to them? They've cooked down. They've got a nice golden brown look. Now, don't fret if the bottom of your pan is dark from doing this, because we cooked it on medium high, and butter has a tendency to get, you know, weird. Noodles are done. I got them drained. While these were cooking down and set off to the side, I left the lid on it so that way the steam keeps them loose. Now, the next thing we need to add to this is 1/4 cup of flour that doesn't have hamburger in it. I've got a 1/4 cup of all-purpose flour, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put this in with the mushrooms, and we're gonna cook it down until the flour turns like a light golden brown. You don't want to see any more white. Okay, so we're at golden brown stage of life. Now, I know you're saying to yourself, Brian, it's made a mess in the bottom of my pan, but that's all right, don't fret. But see how you can't see any more of the white? That's what you want. Yeah, and eventually I will have a camera up here that, yeah, maybe sits somewhere in here that you'll probably be able to see sometimes, that will give you a point of view of the stovetop or the counter or whatever. Just so you can kind of see without me holding it out over the place. All right, so the next things we need to add to this, I've got 3 cups of beef broth. Now I use better than bouillon. You know, and you can use regular beef broth. It's the one thing I don't make myself. And that's just because we don't buy enough of not real beef, but, you know, big beef parts that got the marrow in them to make a true good beef broth. Same with veggie stock. Now I buy better than bouillon for my beef. If I happen to need veggie stock, I just go ahead and buy a small container of it, because we use it so little that it's just not worth making up our own. So I've got that in there. The next thing I want to add to this is some Dijon or some Worcestershire sauce. Now I've got 2 tablespoons of Worcestershire sauce right here. Go ahead and put that in there. And then I've got 2 teaspoons of Dijon mustard. You don't have to use Dijon mustard if it's not your thing, but I put Dijon mustard with my Salisbury steak when I make it in the meat. So I don't know why I wouldn't put it in here, but maybe you like stone ground or just a spicy brown mustard, or, you know, that would be something that we could talk about. You know, what's the stuff you put in your Salisbury steak? You know, when you make it. The last things we need to put in here. I've got 2 teaspoons of salt, 1 teaspoon of pepper, right there, and then 1 teaspoon of thyme. This recipe called for fresh thyme, and if you're doing fresh thyme, I'm sorry, that's a half a teaspoon of dried thyme. If you're using fresh thyme, you want to use a full teaspoon. If you're using dried thyme for this, use half a teaspoon. Dried is always a little more potent and flavorful than fresh. Yeah, it's been sitting around doing its thing. So we're gonna go ahead and give that a good mix. And then the last thing we need to do is just add our meat back into the pot. This is such a quick meal. Now, once we get that in there, what we're gonna let this do is we're gonna turn the heat down just a little bit, and we're gonna let this simmer for about 5 to 7 minutes. Okay, so we have gone for about 5 minutes. Our sauce, our broth and everything is thickened up nicely. So the next thing we need to do is just turn our stovetop off. And now I'm just going to take this off of there and I'm going to set it on this pan or this pot holder right here. Now, you could eat this right away. Sure, why not? Now let's see if we can take a look at it real quick. Let me grab the old camera here and we'll do the old 1-2 and see if we can't get a nice look at it there. There we are. Get the glare off the glistening of the food. But that, my friends, looks amazing. It smells fantastic, but oops, sorry. I hope that didn't just make anybody sick. That was a really quick movement. But what we're going to do instead is we are going to let this sit for about 5 minutes, maybe 10, and let it calm down, right? Man, I'm here to tell you, now would actually have been a good time to make my noodles. But that's all right. They're not going anywhere, right? I got them sitting right here beside the ground Salisbury steak, and they're not going to go anywhere. And even if they cool down a little bit, it's all right because this thing's so blazing hot. It's going to take a minute for it to get, you know, it'll warm up the noodles nicely. So let this calm down for about 10 minutes, and when I come back, we'll go ahead and serve it up and try some. All right, I'll see you here in a second. Okay, so we are cooled down enough that I think we can at least not melt our face. Might burn our mouth, but you know, not melt our face at any rate. So we'll go ahead and grab some of our noodles, get those stirred back up here real quick. Now, here's a question for you. When it comes to noodles, are you a put a little oil on them so they don't stick together person, or are you not a little oil so they don't stick together person? Because like my mom, she always put oil on them. Not a lot, you know, maybe a tablespoon's worth, but I know a lot of people, especially true Italians, that'll tell you that's a sin. My mom also used to break the noodles in half to make them go further, which I've also been told is a sin. Let me know either way. So, and another thing here real quick, I gotta show you this. Quick story, and then I promise I'm done. Most of the time, including myself, when I was a kid, anytime in school you had to write something, and it would be like, you know, and it would involve your parents in any way, shape, or form, who was the one person you really went to? It was your mom, right? Your mom, you were going to do everything for your mom. You were going to buy presents with your mom. You were going to go to the park with your mom. And if you included your dad, it was usually the whole family was involved, right? Brother, sister, dad, mom was usually a picture in front of your house or whatever, like you'd see in a TV show. But Abby, my youngest, actually wrote something today. I don't know if it was today or not, didn't have a date on it. That was just me, and that made me feel so good. I'm actually going to hang it up. But it says 4 years from now, you know, on the next leap day, February 29th, when it comes around, what does she think she'll be doing? And then it says, in 4 years, I will be going, dancing and playing. I will go to the store with my dad. I think that's the most amazing thing ever. And I really wanted to share it with everybody. But Yeah, that's just so cool. Back to the task at hand, though, because I know you're hungry. I'm hungry. Everybody wants to eat. We're gonna go ahead. I got my noodles in there. We're gonna pour our Salisbury ground beef, Salisbury ground beef on there with a little more of that gravy because that looks really good. And there we are, my friends. I don't know how well you can see that. The noodles are pretty much covered, but here, I'll tell you what, let's do this. Just for viewing purposes, I will go ahead and stir that up, mix it up a little bit. Now you can see what we're getting into, right? Noodles and mushrooms and hamburger, onions, garlic, thyme. Now, you can put fresh thyme on top of that if you're using fresh thyme, or you can put dry thyme on it. Whatever floats your boat, really, to kind of garnish it with, or parsley if you have some, for that matter. Some fresh herb that's of your choosing. Other than that, things to serve this with, you probably have, we're just gonna have bread, a little bit of butter. That's pretty much a meal in and of itself. And I can't think of anything else I'd rather put with that than maybe some bread. And dessert, possibly. But let's give this a try, see how it tastes. I'm going for flavor. I'm here to tell you what. That is awesome. Tastes just like Salisbury steak. Hands down. Holy cannoli. Yeah. Oh man, that is good. I can almost dare say eat that every night of the week. That is just amazing. And it took no time to cook. I think I talked longer than it took to cook. Very few ingredients. Most of them you should have in your pantry, hands down. I mean, really, the only thing I had to go to the store for, I think, was mushrooms. Everything else we had. And that's just because I don't keep fresh mushrooms on hand. We've got them, in cans that we've canned up that we keep pretty well stocked. And yeah, man, what a meal. A little bit of bread, you don't need a side dish. That is going to be a meal on itself. Let me know if you try this. Leave me down a comment down below, or jump over on Facebook and let me know. I have been trying to do much better about being on Facebook than I have been in the past. So, it may take me a day to get to it, depending on when you comment. Over on the Facebook group, or on my personal page. I mean, I have nothing to hide, really. I'm probably actually a little more active on the group than I am my own page. But it's not like you don't know my name. I give you my name every single time. You know what I look like. So I would imagine I'd be kind of easy to find, even though Brian Smith's, there's a lot of us. But anyhow, let me know either way. So tomorrow, I am hoping, as it stands right now, we are going to do a cheesecake. And if I would have remembered we'd have had it, that I had it, a friend of mine, Rob Hughes, shared the recipe with me. And it's a mint chocolate cheesecake. And it looks amazing. And I really want to try it. So hopefully, if things go as planned, tomorrow you'll see that. If not, I have no clue what you're going to see. It's always a toss-up. With a family and work and trying to run a business all the same, which those of you who have been ordering from me here in Ohio, thank you. Thank you more than you know. My biggest dream has been to own my own business. And now that Abby's in our life, and with all the challenges that she's going to have later in life, being a young lady of disability, it allows me to be home more with her, to help her grow and develop and become a beautiful person. And that means the world. We will eventually start shipping out, or taking orders out of Ohio and shipping some things, but not everything that I make. Just due to some things just don't ship well. But all of that goes to basically allow me to stay home and be a part of Abby's life, and that means a lot to me. So now I get to own my own business for the first time, and I get to help be a part of my daughter, or just not help, but be a part of my daughter's life. Just waiting on a few things before we can make that happen. But anyhow, tomorrow for dessert, hopefully we're going to do that mint chocolate cheesecake, and it almost looks like a Girl Scout mint cookie on steroids that met mint green chocolate chip ice cream. But we'll see. Yeah, until tomorrow though, for dessert, I love you. I love you very much, and I mean that from the bottom of my heart. You guys treat me better than you will ever know. Tell somebody else that you love them. Now, you love them very much. They may need to hear it. It's going to make them smile either way it goes. It's going to make you feel good on the inside to tell them that. And if you make them some of this Salisbury ground beef, I guarantee they're going to feel the love in every bite, and it's going to lead to tons of conversation around the dinner table. So, till tomorrow for dessert, I love you, and I'll see you then. All right? Bye-bye.